Yeah, welcome to TenX Leadership Talks. I'm Markus Schreyer. Now we're losing the microphone. We're crossing human experiences with technology, and I'm thrilled, excited, humbled to be with Tabet here. They gave us 50 minutes for Metaverse and hospitality, which is a little bit crazy, but we try to cover it. I was thinking prior to this conversation how to introduce you. You're obviously almost a legend here in the industry, 20 plus years, design architecture. One thing that stood out for me is you're always pushing the boundaries, right? You're always looking what's ahead of us, what's forward. Where this is coming from?
Thank you, Markus. To be honest, I believe the subject that we're talking about is not going to be appealing for too many people around this event. But the question is that with all the thousands of rooms in hospitality that they're getting built at the moment, we realized that from my personal experience when I took my kids to Mauritius, and they are 15 and 18, they did not enjoy the experience the way we used to enjoy the experience when we go to a resort. And I realized that they have different approach for fun when it comes to hospitality, and that's where the question was raised in my mind. Are we designing for the future generation, or we are still designing the conventional way? And most of the thousands of rooms that we're working around now, they're gonna be ready, let's say, in the next 3 to 4, 5, 6 years. But again, it's like we're missing a lot, in my opinion, about the metaverse discussion that came. I don't believe we went too deep into it, but we all know that on some of the slides you will see it, that the first wedding happened on the metaverse, and the couples, they live happily in Dubai. And there's a lot of events that happened with Justin Bieber. He did the concert on the metaverse. But again, all these things I believe happened because of COVID. Then things slowed down.
Right, because a lot of people think probably, I mean, I met a lot when you say metaverse, they think, yeah, it's a COVID thing, it's over, we don't need it anymore, right?
Exactly, that's where people, I had some discussion with some people today, and most of them, they were saying that it was a trend. Yeah. But I don't believe it's a trend, I believe it was a test. Somebody was testing the metaverse to see how much the society they are ready to absorb. But it's not gonna finish, and this is the lovely two couples behind us.
Yeah, you're right. When we speak about digitalization of companies, of countries, COVID obviously was an accelerator. Thinking about from your design architecture perspective, where do you think we are right now? Is it far away? Is it something we need to think about right now? Are you actively working, bridging physical, virtual, where we are in the process right now?
To be honest, it's all of us, we're far. I believe we're still all of us conventional at the moment. Even with all the projects that we're designing from a hospitality perspective around the world, we're still receiving the brief from the operator, which is very conventional, where the ballroom has to be a ballroom and the room has to be a room. But again, which is very important, that in the last 20 years, all the science fiction movies that we've been seeing, and I will remind everybody, I keep saying it, about Bruce Willis' movie, The Fifth Element. When we saw the first flying cars happening 20 years ago, we were laughing about it. But nowadays, I believe everybody is trying to fly a car. And the hospitality, in my opinion, the way we're used to do business in hospitality, it's gonna change. The issue is why we're opening the subject. We don't have solutions, but the issue is that what's gonna happen to all this concrete structure, steel structure, that's gonna be there for the next 50, 60 years, and is how it's gonna be flexible to be redesigned or reshuffled the way some of the hotels, they were reshuffled to become hospitals during Corona. So this is the big questions.
Just out of interest, here in the audience, maybe show of hand, who thinks in your business, in your company, you're totally ahead of the game, technology, it's all set up, and you feel good about it. Oh, we have one half a hand.
Somebody is trying.
Wait, first row. So if you need additional expertise, first row. There's expertise in the first row, but the rest obviously has it top of mind, right? And I'm wondering, and just make this as a conversation almost, because there is not this one advice, but what's a good way to get started? And is it research, innovation? Is it maybe the virtual twins, the digital layers, to play around with it and have a first touch point?
I believe the research is very simple because it's in front of us. They are our kids. And they are the one that they're gonna be using all what we're doing at the moment. You really need to see how they're reacting to things. And in my opinion, we're not designing for the new generation at the moment. We are still designing for ourselves. And this is the research where it has to start. You really need to see how they're gonna react, what they really need in the future, because at the moment, we all see a 11 years old or 15 years old kid. The way they react with technology is different than the way we reacted to technology. They are really faster than us big time.
And what can we do then, like, to support them? Like, they are obviously the architects of the metaverse in the future, right? So
By
is
the
there something we can give them? Some, I don't know. Or with your kids, what's the experience like, or with your team?
They asked me once that who's gonna be designing the metaverse. I said that the kids, they're gonna be designing it, because there is no gravity in the metaverse, so anybody can design it. But do I understand my kids now? I don't think so. I don't understand them properly, what they're looking for. But research, it has to be made. And I'll take a small example. At the moment, it's like one of the big challenge for big hotels is that convention room that we call it ballroom, that people, they like it to have it at a 2,000 square meter space, like in here, which will be 50% of the year empty, very cold. And this is the whole question. It's like we've been freezing for 2 days, and that's a very... Why are you laughing? I'm right, exactly. So this is where the challenge is, how you do things different, and how the modular will come on board, how the digital twin that everybody is trying to talk about it, how it can be implemented. We tried to team up with Dubai Future Foundation about the digital twin, but at the end of the day, to do so, you really need funding to start. And I believe, Markus, you're experiencing this issue about funding when you start thinking beyond what the people they can see. It's something nobody is expecting at the moment.
Yeah, I was just thinking about digital twin, back of the house, front of the house. There are things you can play around with. I think the misperception is it's not about copying the physical space. It's taking an additional layer to it, right?
100%.
So that could be a first starter until we move forward, right?
It's like the small element in the back of house, the uniform issue, which is now it's computerized. But I'm saying that if the whole back of house will be digitally connected with the whole system, that now you can open your room with your mobile and stuff like that, the whole efficiency of the hotel will change. And the area requirement, it will change. And that's why we're saying that at the moment, we're still designing for a conventional hotel.
So, one other question, which also probably there's not the one answer, but as we are learning towards being in the physical space, learning how do we need to adapt for the digital space, is there also something the digital space can learn from hospitality? Things we can, speaking about foster of emotion, engagement, community, which ultimately we need to have in the digital space as well, right? Is there something we can bring in, hopefully, probably, hypothetically, into the digital space?
Look, it's scary how technology is moving, and you know better than me. And I believe what we have in our hands at the moment, it is far less than where the technology, it does exist with the big player. And when you watch the Matrix movie and you see that they are connected to cables, you lay down and you live your life, And you really say that, will this happen in the future, or you want to be more in relationship with the nature, and you want to live and have more social life? And during COVID, when the metaverse was announced, people, they start debating that, is this what we need? What about the emotion? What about you being outside and then enjoying your life than being on a platform itself? So, and this is, in my opinion, what happened the last 3 years. It was a test to see social reaction about the metaverse, but I don't think it came to disappear. I believe that it's gonna be explored more. You can see the images behind me. This is AI, by the way. The guys, they were talking about AI. And at the moment you talk to softwares, you just talk to softwares, and Meta, they just launched the ChatGPT Pro, and I believe Pro 5 even. Yep. And it's they can do Hollywood movies for you from ChatGPT, the Pro one. So it's a little bit advanced, and I believe all what we're seeing at the moment, it's gonna be a little bit difficult for us, but for the future generation, that's where they're gonna be more involved in the metaverse and more involved in AI, and their characters and personalities, they're gonna be more able to receive it than us. Mm-hmm. And this is what we see at the moment with kids at 5 years old, 6 years old. The way they react to schooling and the way they react to education is totally different than the way we reacted. And that's why everybody in this room, I believe, they have fights every day with their kids to push them to study, because they believe there is no need for schooling.
We're not doing another survey, but I would love to hear who else in the audience. But I see a couple of zeros here on the screen, so we get a little bit of pressure to wrap up. Before we finish, just out of interest, for what does it mean for your business, for JT+Partners moving forward? You mentioned a little bit like you're developing now. You have probably a lot of discussion with your clients. What needs to be done now and in the future?
We're building the R&D department at the moment, but as I said, that we're in talks with partners to come on board. I don't think. If you don't look at it now, it's going to be too fast. And as the gentleman they just mentioned in the panel before, things they're going to be moving very fast, and you really need to invest in it. And we need help from different parties, and then you need help from clients. But at the moment, the mentality is to make money from, like, developers. We're just being honest, like everybody wants to jump in, make money and move ahead. But the AI and the metaverse, they're gonna come. We really need to be ready for it. It's gonna be a little bit scary because the change is always difficult. But we'll see how it goes, and that's where we're pushing the bar. It's difficult. It's difficult what we're doing at the moment, because we reach days where we don't know what to do when we're researching, because you don't have enough data about it.
Embrace the change. You're a role model for this, Joe. This is inspiration for all of us. Let's keep the conversation on the corridors tonight. I think it's a very, very important topic. Unfortunately, we had a limited time, but it was a pleasure. Such an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Markus. Thank you. Thank you.